Hello, Graham here from the SEGA Spirit Show. Hope you're all doing well. Just want to let you know the video you're about to watch was actually an extra part that was part of our SEGA 65th anniversary episode that we did the other day. It was part of the show originally, but it was actually made the show way too long, so we kind of cut it off. But we really wanted to get out there and show it to people. So just to let you know, this show is not going to be like a full-length episode like we normally do with all the other features. It's just going to be the chat that we had, which is covering some of the most underappreciated Sega games of the past, since Sega started, really. So check it out. I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the show. Cheers. Scotty, I guess we do want to we are here to, we both love Sega, we're passionate about them, so I guess it'd be wrong of us not to talk about Sega and celebrate them in some way. So
we would be remiss.
It would be remiss. So we're not going to do what other people have done, because I think a lot of people have sort of talked about their, the best games on the different consoles and stuff. We're going to do it slightly differently.
If they put the Sega Saturn Micro out, what games do you want on it, Graham? Let's do something totally different that no one's done on a podcast yet.
Man.
I didn't mean to make a joke when you were swigging there, sorry.
We're actually going to talk about something a little bit different. But as first, before we do that, Scotty, I just want to just kick off this section with three very simple questions for you. What is your first memory of Sega? Like, when did you first, know about the company or experience the company?
Probably with my childhood friend Tucker, who we've unfortunately lost touch. It genuinely bums me out that we don't talk anymore. But Tucker, he introduced me to Sega. What's that?
I'm saying, Tucker, come on, reaching out to you, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay,
won't go into that. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you off the podcast.
Okay.
No, it's nothing bad. It's nothing bad. Just people grow up and, do stuff. Well, he moved far away. I've told that story before, how he moved, I don't know if you know distances, but we were childhood friends. I live in Pennsylvania. He moved down to Florida. So that's eons apart for children. But he introduced me to Sega with Sonic, the first Sonic, I believe. Or you know what? It might have been just meandering about in a Blockbuster video. And I found Sonic playing on one of when they had a TV and couches and stuff set up for kids to play while parents look around, or they just don't want to deal with the children for a second or whatever. So it's honestly hard to figure out exactly. I could tell you where that Blockbuster is. I live closer to it now than I ever have in my life. It's not a Blockbuster anymore, but
I was about to ask. Yeah.
either in that Blockbuster or at Tucker's house. One day, because he introduced me to Sega for sure, and I feel like it was probably Sonic 1 that was the kickoff for that. And then, because I remember getting Sonic 2, but Sonic 3 was the strong, when I was aware that I loved Sega more than Nintendo and all that stuff. So yeah, my good buddy Tucker, so that would have been in 1991 or 2. Probably 92, because I barely played Sonic the first Sonic one until I was older. I played a lot of Sonic 2 rather than Sonic 1.
And what was your first console? It's first Sega console that you owned?
The Genesis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, gotta admit it, first console was the NES, but first console I cared about way more was the Genesis.
Cool. And your favorite Sega game, or Sega game on a Sega system?
Oh, I mean, Sonic 3, standalone without Knuckles, is still my favorite.
Okay. Most people say Sonic 3 and Knuckles. When they talk about Sonic 3, they always say and Knuckles.
Yep, okay, and it makes even less sense because Knuckles is my favorite character, but it's the nostalgia, and I really, really like that 2-player mode. I honestly, I like Sonic 3's the original soundtrack, because when you lock it on to Knuckles, Knuckles' theme changes, his theme song changes when you encounter him as Sonic or Tails, and you cannot play those 2-player multiplayer levels in Sonic 3, which Sonic 3 was still the first game you could play as Knuckles because you could play as Knuckles in the multiplayer zones. But
Oh.
those multiplayer zones were designed just for 2-player, and they have their own music, and I really really like the tunes that they wrote for those zones. And yeah, and the thing like with Sonic, it's such a small, or Sonic 3, it's a small package, but I kind of like that. I know Sonic 3 and Knuckles together is the definitive, they released a game in 2 parts and everything like that, but yeah, I like Sonic 3 standalone as my favorite Sega game.
Nice. No, that's cool. Do you know what? I never actually played the 2-player on Sonic 3.
There, it's okay. Like if you can convince Kate to play it, or well, you could play it online with people too. I think when they like did all those different collections and re-releases on like
Oh, okay.
360, PS3, and whatever.
Okay.
But no, the like Balloon Park is really good. I lost my mind in the Sonic Generations, the first version of Sonic Generations. They had remixes, or they had melodies, or sorry, medleys that had Balloon Park, and I think Azure Lake was in there too. But
Yeah.
like I heard that and I was like, wait a minute, what is that? And I was like, what? Like, I wish someone could see my face the first time I heard that, because it was like a stages of, what is that? Oh, is that? Holy crap, it is, like that kind of thing. So
Brilliant. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, it's good to hear.
there you go. Got my reasons.
Oh, yeah.
What about you?
What about me? So my first Sega memory. Oh, I really feel like I might have seen it at a friend's house, like their brother owned a Mega Drive or a Master System, but I distinctly remember being in a like a shop in London or something with my mum and my grandma. And it's like one of those big department stores. They sell everything. Like you can buy a sofa and a plant, and also they had like a video game section or a toy. They had a big toy section and a video game section. And I distinctly remember there was a Mega Drive that you could play on there. I feel like they also had what was that Nintendo awful thing you put on your face?
Virtual Boy.
Yeah, they had a Virtual Boy there. In my head, they had a Virtual Boy there
that
as
was
well.
out years after.
Yeah, that can't be my first. That can't be my first time I saw. Like, 'cause I definitely played Sega.
I mean, unless they had like a Game Boy set up with it or something, and they might have had a big screen that it felt like it was encompassing your eyeballs or something.
Unless I'm mixing up 2 separate occasions, but there was definitely a moment when I was walking around with my grandma, and
if you could think of like what. Oh, sorry, your mic went out, so I thought you weren't talking. If you could think of the year it happened, you could probably place whether or not it was a Virtual Boy.
No idea when that.
Okay, never mind.
No, my brain is too old for that now. But yeah, I must have been at a friend's house. Then maybe he must be playing a Master System or something. But the first console I actually owned was a Game Gear.
Oh my gosh.
I loved it though. I had the choice. Basically, it involves my grandma again. I love you, Grandma. She passed away a long time ago.
I'm sorry.
Rest in peace. That's okay. For Christmas one year, they had like those old catalogs, like toy catalogs and stuff, and this toy shop. I think it was Argos, which you won't have in America, but in the UK we have a company called Argos. They're still going.
Okay.
They were like the internet before the internet though, because they were just a catalog company. You might have had them in America.
Oh, sure.
So they had physical shops, but when you went to the shop, they didn't really have anything on display. They just had a big area of catalogs. And you open up a catalog, you find the number, and back in the day, you had to write on a piece of paper the number of the thing that you wanted. So it had like 6 numbers or whatever. Then you take it to the till and go, "I'd like this, please." And then they enter the numbers into their machine and go, "Yes, we have it in stock. Go and wait at the seating area, person." Oh, you pay as well.
Employees sound frightening.
And then you'd wait. And then from this magical...
We have your toy, child. They drop the bag on your head.
They're like a conveyor belt. Magically, items just appeared on this conveyor belt
anymore.
And then they'd go, "Order number 53" or whatever, and then you go, "Oh, that's me."
Yeah.
You walk up, and then magically they had everything in the catalog was available, basically. But anyway, yeah, I was going through this catalog, and it's coming up to my birthday and Christmas. So my birthday's quite close to Christmas. So my grandma was like, what would you like? I'm happy to get you one of these video game things. I played on the Game Boys a lot because lots of my friends had Game Boys and I loved it. And she's like, what would you like? The Game Boy or the Game Gear, basically? And I saw the Game Gear. I've never played on Game Gear before. I was like, I want the Game Gear. Because I saw the picture of Sonic the Hedgehog and it was in color and it was bright. And I was like, that's what I want.
Yep.
And I loved it. I was so happy I got that on I mean, I still like the Game Boy, but the Game Gear was amazing for me. And the games on it were so good. So yeah, I loved it.
That makes sense. That's fun. It sounds similar to Sears over here, except the Sears is a department store that did have a storefront, and you could, I mean, it was massive. You'd walk around, and mostly they had furniture and like stuff for houses, but that was oddly the first place I played a Sega Saturn because of their kiosk and stuff, But it sounds very similar to that, but with a storefront. I was going to say that Argos sounds insanely progressive for a store in the 90s that has no storefront, just goes with a catalog and you just have employees get it from the magical back room. But
it was the
but that also
offline
sounds
internet.
kind of but it also sounds kind of opaque in a like it's kind of off-putting a little bit in retrospect. I'd be curious to see like pictures of it, but I don't want to look right now. I'll get distracted.
I mean, it's changed a little bit now. They do have an online presence and stuff, and they're actually, I don't think they've got any stores on their own now. They're all part of a supermarket chain now who bought them out, and they've always got like a little kiosk area now in these supermarkets.
Sure.
But it sounds drab and horrible and depressing, but it's actually magical because you got to take these catalogs home as well, and it'd be like around birthday or Christmas. You got this. The Argos catalog is a huge thing, and you'd be like, "What can I buy? What can I get?"
Yeah, that was exact. That's why I thought of Sears, because there was always the Sears catalog, and you'd flip through to find, and that was back when every place had it, or the J.C. Penney's was another department store that everybody looked through the catalogs for those because it was like a thick thing.
Yeah. Good times.
So,
but yeah,
that's cool.
It was awesome.
So the Game Gear was your first console. So what was your favorite game then?
Well, you know what my favorite game is. It's Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The best Game Gear game.
No. When I said favorite game to you, I meant just favorite game in general on any Sega.
Yeah, it's still Sonic 3 standalone.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of that is with nostalgia though, because around that time, the one thing I forgot to mention was McDonald's had the Sonic toys over here, and so that was just like I still remember. I don't think you guys got the same McDonald's toys as us, but those things that you hold something and you pull something back and it launches some sort of helicopter thing. That's what Tails was as the McDonald's toy. So I have very vivid memories hanging out in Tucker's game room, just launching Tails at the ceiling and stuff. Like those things were very quickly removed from shelves. Like in general, the other ones, some sort of Freaky Flyers or something actually put a kid's eye out realistically. And so they banned them everywhere, but like those things like he had tall enough ceilings, but we would just launch Tails and he would like stay like hitting the ceiling for a solid minute or something because they basically packaged weapons with the McDonald's Happy Meals is what I'm saying. Anyway,
I have the 90s. Oh.
Yeah. It was more fun when we lived dangerously. Yeah.
Oh man.
Now you've got apples in your McDonald's Happy Meal toys. What the crap is going on? Anyway,
so I mean, what we just did there was pretty standard, I guess, for a lot of places. But what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the most underappreciated game of the Sega ages, basically. So we're going to go through different systems and look at what we consider to be, I guess, what games we consider to be most underappreciated. They tend to be genuinely good games.
I will add a caveat to that because not all of mine are good games, so I don't even want to call these hidden gems. They're just underrated, and I think games people should experience.
Okay, fair enough. Right.
I kind of hate the phrase hidden gems. You hear that too much, but it's still underrated, definitely.
So yeah, I guess first up, Scotty, what was yours?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. I know I was a teenager. I don't remember the exact year, but didn't have a Master System too long after the fact. But then I was actually playing some of the games. aside from, there's been a bunch that were released on Game Gear. I really dug Zillion. It was a puzzle game that the more recent indie game Escape 2042, I think, is heavily influenced by.
Yeah.
Um, but it it had whoa boy, let's try that again. Metroidvania aspects, which makes sense because it, was on the 8-bit era and everything. Crazy passwords you'd enter into a computer to like get through different spots and stuff. What's interesting though, I mentioned this, I definitely would not have enjoyed this if I played this when it was new, like at the age I would have been when it released and stuff. But I have grown to appreciate puzzle games.
Mm.
So which I would consider this like action adventure puzzle. Um, I've mentioned it before. I don't think you've played it though, right? Or
I haven't played Zidian, but I have
right.
played Escape 2042. In fact, I was looking at something
Yeah,
to do with that earlier today, which was interesting. So I kind of understand what kind of game it is. It does look interesting, and I guess, like you say, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it when I was a kid, but
right.
nowadays I
No,
reckon,
it would have been too difficult.
I reckon I would enjoy it now.
I'd say give it a shot. You can probably find hmm, I don't
Is it?
know if they have re-released it. I'll check that. You start talking about. I don't think we need to go into super detail on each of these.
That's cool. Yeah.
Um, but I'll try to find out if that's been
Cool.
re-released anywhere. I'm kind of
So
curious myself now. Otherwise, it's probably pretty cheap. Cheap.
the game I'm sort of thinking of for the Master System is Golden Axe Warrior. If you don't know
That's a
about
good
this,
one.
it's not a side-scrolling beat 'em up like the original Golden Axe games. It's more of a Zelda style game. I mean, like traditional Zelda style
Very
game.
much.
Yeah. It's So I think that a lot of people just overlook this because it kind of is like the Master System's answer to Zelda. You could arguably say it's not as good as Zelda, but I think it's a pretty fun game. I've only played it once or twice. Just on. I think it was released on one of the Sega Genesis collections or whatever.
Yes, that's what
Um,
I was going to bring up because that's where I
yeah,
played it first.
um, it's just a solid game. It's pretty fun. It's got its flaws.
Yeah,
I've
it's a
never
blatant
beaten it
Zelda
or anything.
ripoff, but in the best way, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And Scotty, what's your
That was
next?
on the Sonic. For those wondering, it was on Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. It was
Okay.
like an unlockable game. That's how I played it.
Yes, yeah, it's one of the unlockable ones. Yeah.
Kind of crazy. Whoops. My next one, Zero Tolerance on the Sega
Woohoo!
Genesis / Mega Drive. I cannot wholeheartedly say this is a great game, but this was my Wolfenstein. This was my Doom. And I
Is
realize that now, and that's why I like it so much.
This is a great game. I'm sorry. I genuinely think this is a great game. Did you play through the whole thing recently, or because I did
Oh,
recently?
sir, I can reach over here and grab without knocking over thousands of things. The collection that I bought
Yes.
a third time, I own it in every way possibly released. They did the Zero Tolerance Origins and Underground and whatever, like the
Yeah.
collection they did. I don't know why. No one was asking for this. I'm very confident that I willed this into existence. Um, but no, it's a first person shooter, and it was, I think, the first console released first person shooter.
Oh,
I think it was. The what was his name? Randall Reese. He is the main dev behind it. Um, and we could honestly and probably will have a full episode about this, so I won't go into too much detail. It's very sluggish. It's very slow paced. The controls have not aged well. They updated them for the unreleased or the newly released collection, including an unreleased game and a new game they made for it, apparently.
hmm.
Um, the biggest and craziest thing about it is the only game to do this on the Genesis Mega Drive. It uses two-player co-op with a link cable connecting two consoles using two TVs. You have two-player co-op mode, which is insane for mid 90s. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So,
I never got to
and you
do
know how you
that.
got that cable? Do you remember that?
Nope.
You get it for free. If you send away a thing from the manual, they just send you because initially they were going to
Uh,
pack the cable in with the game. They didn't get it done in time.
no way. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
So
don't.
again, shout outs to Tucker. He sent away for that cable, and I had a Sega Nomad at the time, so I was playing on my Sega Nomad. He was playing on his TV because the Nomad has a controller port. So we were playing like side by side on a Christmas vacation.
Brilliant! Oh my god!
Yeah.
I wish I'd done that. So I think I did get the game when it first came out because I vaguely remember going to a friend's house to play it after I bought it.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, at first, I feel like I was a little disappointed because it wasn't.
It's got a learning curve.
It's definitely got a learning curve. But then I'm starting to really appreciate it because for people who don't know, you have to actually kill every enemy on the level to really proceed. You can technically, in theory, go to the next level.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah, you can sort of do it without, but you're meant to actually kill everything. But I think it's great. And a lot of levels when you see it, on this like space station type thing. But later on, you go to like a city and stuff, like you're on a rooftop, and you go inside a building, like an office building and things like that. And I think it's a genuinely good game.
Yeah, it's good. I've only played 2-player, I think once, and that again was with Tucker. But I tried to do it again, or I did do it by myself because people have re-released the cable, and so to test that out when I ordered it, I just set stuff up to I might have been with my Nomad, I don't remember. Point is, I tested it out. The only difficult thing with the co-op mode is like if you and I were playing, you would look like the same thing as an enemy. I would look like just another enemy, and I don't remember if there's friendly fire or not, so it's hard. There's like slight differences, but really, like if we're just in the heat of a gunfight or whatever, we could definitely accidentally take each other out. But yeah, my favorite thing still to do in the game is get the flamethrower, line up all those little crab aliens, and just take out like 30 at a time to the point that the game just chugs along, you know?
That's so much fun.
Yeah, so it's a fun time, but it really was my Wolfenstein and Doom because I played that before any of those because I was never a PC gamer or anything.
Yeah.
But eventually I did play those games, so.
So I think I had played Wolfenstein, I'd played Doom, and I played a game called Catacomb Abyss, which is one of id Software's original first-person shooters.
Say that again? Kinetic what?
Catacomb Abyss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or Abyss, which is it was basically like a Doom Wolfenstein style game, but you were a magician, you like threw fireballs and stuff. It was pretty sure it was before Wolfenstein. It's like one of their earliest games.
I think so.
It's really good fun.
I should know this. I just read John Romero's book.
Okay.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, and also the other thing I liked about Zero Tolerance is the different character. If you die, your character is dead, and you have to choose a different character. And different characters have different specialities. Like some are better marksmen, some have like grenades or bombs or something. Yeah, it's cool. It was awesome.
Yeah. So what's yours next one?
So my next one. So I would have chosen Zero Tolerance as well, but you chose it. So my one is I've actually gone for James Pond 3, Operation Starfish. Which, if you haven't played the James Pond games, they're all different. So James Pond's the original one. He's a fish. A lot of the levels are underwater, and then they had James Pond 2 RoboCod, when basically you kind of like a RoboCop spin-off, and he had like a little metal body, but he could stretch really high, and it was set at Christmas time, and you're basically saving Santa at the North Pole. And then James Pond 3 Operation Starfish, you are essentially a space adventurer, and in the game you go to different planets or different areas of the planet, and they're all named after cheese things. So there's a lot of cheese theme in this game, and in this game, you pick up weapons which fire different fruit, as it's showing in the video. It also has a really good physics engine. So kind of like Sonic, you can build up speed, but to the point that you can actually run upside down and stuff. There's certain areas where you can actually go upside down. And it's a really good platformer. And it's kind of got, I guess, like a Mario World, like overworld type thing, where you can go back and forth between levels. I thought it was brilliant. It's such a fun game. Me and my friend used to play this all the time. Really good. Nice. But I won't go any more about that.
That's cool. I've only ever played the one that was like an Olympics minigame fiesta.
Oh yeah, they also did. Yeah, they did. mini game. Olympics game. What's it called? Aquatic games.
I thought that was the only James Pond game, so I
Ah,
thought that's what they were, and never bothered again. But I can
yeah,
see. I mean, any decent platformer, especially if it feels good, I could understand that being a good one.
yeah. I remember the aquatic games and seeing James Pond on it, and then I played it at my friend's house, and I was like, "This is terrible." I'm sorry. I was just angry. I was
Oh yeah,
upset.
it's not good.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
good game.
so you can understand why I never bothered with another James Pond game.
We should try it
But
now.
going back to solid platformers, though, Tempo on the 32X,
Mm.
this was a game that I blindly grabbed forever ago when, 32X games were like 10 or $5. And I should have grabbed, I've got the box and stuff, like it's complete. Um, yeah, I won't talk too long about it. It's so vibrant. The soundtrack is great. The mini games are insane. I streamed it just to stream something years ago and ended up completing the game on stream. And the mini games are all rhythmic based stuff and so fun. I'll have to find like the clip or something of me
Yeah.
dominating one. But yeah, it's really solid. And it's the last thing I'll say is unfortunately it's a 32X exclusive, but there was a kind of a simplified version released on Game Gear, Tempo Junior,
Ooh.
and then Super Tempo is released on Sega Saturn only in Japan, and it is insanely expensive. So maybe consult your local emulator to play Tempo in any way, shape, or form. But I
Nice.
recommend it. Colorful, vibrant, great soundtrack.
It does look amazing. I've only really known about it since you played it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my 32X collection is very minimal. I don't really know much about 32X. I know a few
Hey, you're in
games.
luck because the library is minimal.
Um, but yeah, no, I think this looks awesome. I do want to play
Yeah.
this, and maybe I'll try and pick up the Game Gear one. That'd be really cool.
It's similar. It's not as like that level that we're looking at right now is kind of too crazy. The background has a lot going on.
Mm,
But the Game Gear one, that might be a decent starting point for sure.
yeah, nice. And speaking of Game Gear, um, well, actually, I've got a few games I wrote down for the Game Gear, but I'm actually going to skip to this
Okay.
one. So, Batman Returns on the Game
Hmm.
Gear, I think is my favorite Batman game. Which I know it sounds crazy. I just think it's a very solid platformer. It's quite simple in some ways, but then it's complicated in other ways. So, it essentially it's just like a side-scrolling kind of just beating people up sort of thing. You use your batarang to attack enemies, and then you also use your grappling hook to like swing along, kind of like Spider-Man in a way. There's like moments you can kind of do Spider-Man web slinging style stuff. The thing I love about it though is each level has two routes in it. So when it says routes, they're actually kind of different levels. They're kind of like the same level but different stages, if that makes sense. And you get to choose like
Oh,
route one or route
interesting.
two. You always end up at the same boss at the end, but there's different paths through the levels basically until the very last one where it's like lots of stages together basically. And I mean the game's not super long. You can complete it in like half an hour, 40 minutes if you're good at it, but if you're not good at it, it's actually quite tough. But it follows the movie pretty well, like by the levels. Like you've got the streets and stuff. You've also got Shrek. If you know the movie, you've got the Shrek's department store and things like that. And you've got the sewers and things. And I just think it's a great game. Very underrated. No one really talks about it, especially in like when they talk about Batman games. They always talk about the Genesis or Mega Drive version of Batman Returns, which I don't think is as much fun. This to me
Hmm.
is the definitive Batman Returns, and I prefer it to the Master System version because I think the screen resolution on this is slightly better from memory, or performance. But there's something about it performs better. It's a better
But
resolution.
Game Gear could output more colors than the Master System, I
Yeah,
believe,
yes, I believe it could as well.
or it had a bigger palette or whatever it was.
Yeah, so this was my favorite one. I love it.
Uh,
Um,
that's cool. The
yeah.
I had to look it up because that was the time when every version of a game, almost every version that was put on different systems was different.
Mm.
But it does say the Master System and Game Gear were essentially identical. I don't know. This is Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. But I guess the soundtrack on the Game Gear and Master System versions composed by, oh my gosh, Motohiro Kawashima under the supervision of Yuzo Koshiro of Streets of Rage fame. So
Mm.
that would be awesome if it's true.
I've just
Big if
noticed
true.
the person who's done this video, this is not my video. They're using an emulator because this game is glitchy on an emulator. The graphics do
Oh,
not flicker like
flashing
that in the
warning.
actual Game Gear. But
Yeah.
yeah, cool. So yeah, Scotty,
Cool.
what's your next game?
The next one I have, should we keep with Game Gear and then do my Sega CD after this, just since we're talking Game Gear, I guess?
Oh, we can do. Should I go Game
That's
Gear
how
again?
people do transitions because they state them. Yeah, just if you want to bring up the Game Gear footage real quick, the one I chose, it's I don't know how underappreciated it is because I
Oh,
think recently, thanks to the Sonic Gems collection and speedrunners, Tails Adventure has started to enter the zeitgeist a little bit more. But the Game Gear was awesome. I said it because, and well, actually, no, I'll doing an asterisk to that. Handheld gaming in the 90s was awesome because that's where devs really experimented.
mm,
They didn't want to risk too much, even though there was a lot of risky stuff on home consoles, but handhelds were really where they just did whatever they wanted to, and Tails Adventure is a great example of that. It's his solo romp. He's got the Sea Fox little submarine thing, but Tails would chuck bombs at people, and it was very Metroidvania, but not intensely. And I say that because I enjoyed it and I don't really like Metroidvania stuff, even though this is the second Metroidvania game after Xelian now that I've mentioned on this list. But no, I dug it, and it was I really liked my Game Gear, and I play the crap out of this game, and I recommend it. Um, I won't say much more because a lot of people have already, but I really, really dug and played probably more than anything on my Game Gear the port of Road Rash,
ooh, yeah,
because that was like I don't know if it was my brain doing this, but this was the game I played on the road trips to relatives' houses. Like we're going to grandma's, pack up the Game Gear, throw in Road Rash because we're on the road. I'm on my bike on the road, you know. And it's a very solid port of the first game.
yeah. I've never
Yeah.
played on the Game Gear. Uh,
It's pretty good. I even
yeah,
streamed it once because I was like, let's just do this one. Screw it, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very good. Just a solid port. I don't know. I can't remember if they did Road Rash on the Master System. Um, but Road Rash was a game that I played the crap out of, like that series 1, 2, and 3 on
yeah.
Genesis. I've got them all, I think. I'm a big fan. They didn't make the greatest transition to the next gen of consoles. They tried to be
Mm.
like overly self-aware and kind of lost the comedy that I feel like the 8 and 16-bit games had a little bit. Not lost it. It went a direction that was too haha, we're funny and cool and we're going to use
Yeah,
curse words. Yeah, you
yeah.
know.
It,
Um
from memory, the Saturn version, like, it was bad, but also quite playable. Like once you got used to it, it was actually quite fun.
oh
But
yeah,
yeah, it
it's an
wasn't.
okay game. It feels too different from what these
Yeah,
games were, I guess.
yeah.
So then the fun thing we would do, my friends and I, when we played Road Rash, if we ever played two player, I'll just mention this and then we'll keep going. But um, it was kind of broken. If you played two player, so long as one person like got top three, you could progress in the game. Like they would qualify. It didn't matter if it was maybe it had to be first player. I'm not sure. But so that in mind, like if you and I were playing Graham, like you would focus on racing and get like first, second, or third, while I would beat the crap out of everybody. Like just that would be my purpose is just punching everyone off their bikes, taking the club and knocking them off and stuff. So I'd like be the hitman while you try to win the race.
Oh wow.
So and it
One's
worked.
if you got arrested, or would you? And but the other person
So
won.
long as somebody else progressed, it would still like you'd be in the
Okay.
hole with money and have a worse bike overall probably, but you could still progress overall. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I think that was a great
Yeah.
thing about the game, the two player mode, the fact that it kind of was it could be a co op
It
kind of
ran
game. Yeah,
surprisingly smooth too.
yeah,
This was
and
early Electronic Arts.
oh yeah, back when Electronic Arts was really good. They actually, like Mega Drive Genesis era and even Saturn era, I think they pumped out some fantastic games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then they went downhill not long after that. We were to work with it.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
mind if I do my next one just since you don't have a Sega CD one?
yeah, go for it.
Okay. So Sega CD, I love the console because I love FMV games. Full motion video games are horrible and amazing. And at one point, they were the future, gang. Did you not know that? Um, everybody know if you people listening and watching this podcast, you guys know about Night Trap. If you don't, please look it up. Um, that got me into FMV with most people, as it did with as most people got into FMV. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but that's been re-released. Bunch of other FMV have been re-released. Unfortunately, Wirehead I don't think ever will, but it is amazing. Um, it is very much playing a movie, but like the acting is decent. The actor here,
Oh,
crap,
he
I
looks
can't remember.
familiar.
His name's probably going to come up. You've seen him in commercials, I guarantee it. He's had small bit parts here and there. Um, and I'm gonna look up who it is because I don't think it's fair that we don't know his name. It probably said it on the screen, and everybody's screaming at us like, "Of course it!" Blah blah blah. Steve Whitting plays Ned Hubbard. Um, Steve Whitting has done a lot of movies, excuse me, and commercials. Oh, he's done TV shows as well. Holy moly, he's done a lot. Um,
Yeah,
the
I
boy.
definitely recognize him. I don't know where from.
Um, I could find there's a commercial. Oh,
Yeah,
let me
I
see
doubt it'd be
here.
a commercial because American commercials aren't really shown over here.
No, but uh okay. Do you want to show a commercial with sound?
Yeah, I guess I can do. Yeah.
We're off the rails today, everybody. I apologize and also don't at the same time. Go ahead and play that commercial because it has the star of Wirehead in it. Sit back and enjoy, everybody. Steve Whitting, prime of his life.
Yeah. Seconds. Let's cue this up. Ooh.
It's gonna look horrible.
I
I'm
can't
sorry,
believe it.
but
It's my
enjoy.
first blind date.
Oh, I do it all the
Ow.
time.
Really?
Sorry, let's turn it down. 1 second.
I
Let's
can't
try again.
believe it. It's my first blind date.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Really? Woo! You guys
Wait for it.
Greg, Janice?
We sure did.
That was stupid.
Great.
This is Smart, a beeper service for just $1.99 a month. From who else? Smart Beep.
It's for
Why not
pagers,
beep
too.
$1.99 for other smart stuff, like directions.
We've got chemistry
dumbest.
here. You feel it?
I felt it.
All right, Janice.
All right, Janice.
What does that
It-
relate
I-
Smart, a
I-
beeper
I
service for
didn't
just
catch it
$1.99 a
first.
month. From who?
I didn't catch it until someone pointed it out to me. Oh yeah, if we have people listening, I'm sorry, but this couple walks out like it's a blind date or whatever, and he escorts her to his car, lets her in on the passenger side, and she lets one rip, and then he gets in, and he's like, "All right, did you guys meet?" And there's apparently someone in the back seat, and the lady of the guy and girl couple was like, "We sure did," and you can't notice it, or be surprised if you notice it at first, but the guy in the back seat is like frantically trying to put the window down. So the star of Wirehead, everybody.
Oh,
But Wirehead is great, and unfortunately, it was released by MGM Studios. You know they're never gonna just decide like, oh, we can definitely make money on a re-release of the Sega CD hit Wirehead. Um, so it's fun. It's honestly like if people have already heard of Night Trap, Rachel and I happily introduce people to another form of FMV with Wirehead because it is probably the biggest just a much bigger production value out of the FMV games I've seen, and it is only on Sega CD.
I need to check this out.
Nothing
It's
else.
pretty wild.
It's a good time. It's fun. It's goofy. Honestly, if you just watch a playthrough, it's just as much fun. A version of it for was planned for the Sega 32, the CD 32X, but never released.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, there's one more rabbit hole for everybody.
Fantastic.
Wirehead.
Check
Can't
that
recommend
out
it
at some
enough.
point. Nice.
All right.
Cool. I'm actually,
Try to keep firing through these somehow.
Cool.
Sorry.
if it's okay, I'm actually going to go back to the Game Gear briefly.
Yeah, whatever you want.
For my one. So again, this is my favorite version of another franchise, which is Shinobi. Shinobi on the Game Gear is my favorite Shinobi game. I think it's because I find Shinobi games quite challenging. This one's still challenging, but there's something to it that I think is really fun. Have you ever played the Game Gear Shinobi at all?
Very briefly, because I think it was released on a collection.
Okay. So
yeah,
it's kind of got the the platformy kind of Shinobi style gameplay, but what happens is the whole point of the game is I'll go back to, so if you see, this is like the menu, the level select screen. You start off as what they call the Red Shinobi. And you have you have a basic attack of like a sword, and you can drop bombs, I believe. So you got a couple of attacks, and then depending on the level you choose, at the end of the level you save another shinobi, and each shinobi has their own unique abilities and stuff, and basically you can then switch between the shinobis that you saved as you progress through the game. So there's actually a bit of strategy because you can actually choose which level you want to go to next and stuff. And
like a Mega Man style thing almost, maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. So like this pink shinobi can crawl on the roof and stuff, and he drops bombs.
Yeah, I have. Okay, I have played this one very little, but I think I might have reviewed it. Was that? Whoops.
And this yellow shinobi can walk on water from memory. I think this is one of the water levels where he can like
Jesus,
like
this
a water.
is the Jesus shinobi.
I thought they were going to show him walking on water. They don't. That's annoying. The green shinobi, I can't remember if he does like a double jump or something. But anyway, the point
He's
is
just high all the time. That's all. What?
But yeah, you can choose between the different shinobis. And the yellow one can walk on water. This is like the last level where you then have to use all the different abilities.
Gotcha.
But the earlier levels are set up that you can use the different abilities, but you don't have to get through, because they're designed that you can unlock them in different ways. Oh yeah, and the blue shinobi's got this cool, like, I guess, what do you call it, like scorpion style. What was I saying? Grappling hook thing. Yeah,
there is a word. We are horrible ninjas. I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's cool. So they didn't do anything like that on the consoles, huh? It was only the Game Gear version that had this like alternating.
Yeah,
again,
as far as I can tell,
experimentation on the handhelds.
It's so much fun as well. Really good game. Yeah, love it. So yeah, check it out if you get a chance.
You don't hear more about that, because that's other than people being like, "That's not my Mega Man." That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And if we move on to the Saturn, so
there he is.
Jesus Christ. I genuinely think Bug and Bug 2 are good, solid games. I know a lot of people seem to hate them for some reason, but I don't understand why. Have you ever played the Bug games?
Because it's not Sonic that launched with a console.
Well, yeah, it's not Sonic, but it's near enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the platformer that released with the Saturn, or that launched with the Saturn. So that's, I think that unfortunately he's just guilty by association is not the phrase applied here, but yeah.
But if people, for people who haven't played it, basically Bug, it's weird. It's kind of a 2D platformer with 3D elements. So you can actually walk into the backgrounds. Like they basically you walk along paths, but they're sort of linear paths. But some of the paths go into the background. Some of them are like walls that you can walk up and stuff. Most of the bosses have a bit of a 3D element to them as well. So
I would say maybe could we describe it as a grid-based 3D platformer?
Yeah, I guess you could.
Because you can only walk in straight lines. He can't go diagonal at all.
Yeah, basically, there's no diagonal movements, but you can jump between platforms and stuff. And I think Bug 2, expands on everything a little bit more.
Bug 2 is difficult.
Yeah, and Bug 1's pretty difficult as well. But also, there's also multiple routes in some of the levels as well. So, like, you don't have to go the route that's necessarily laid out before you. You can sometimes find different routes. I think the level's actually pretty interesting. They're kind of set up to be like movies almost, which you'll see. Like it's almost like he's a movie actor on different sets. It is that, level, yeah, basically. I'm trying to go to another level. There we go. But yeah, I think it's a fun game.
Second game, they got crazy colorful.
Yeah, it got really vibrant and a bit over the top. But yeah, it's a fun game.
I dug them. I just recognize they haven't aged great, and I understand victim of circumstance. They didn't. They weren't Sonic, even though Sonic's in the first game. But yeah. So no, they're good. They're decent. I like them. It's what I would call a Sunday afternoon game where you just want to play something and kind of turn your brain off.
Yeah. And if it's okay, I'll very quickly mention another side one for the Saturn, which is Shining Wisdom. If you never, so a lot of people would have played the other Shining Force games. This is nothing like them. So a bit like Golden Axe earlier, this is another Zelda style game. So it's a top down. It's kind of got. It doesn't really have 3D graphics, but they kind of done the levels to make it look a bit more 3D than some other earlier games.
Very thick outlines.
Yeah,
is this a remake or something?
No. This is the original. They had thick outline. The characters and enemies had very thick black outlines for some reason. It's a pretty solid game, though. I never finished it, but I got very far into it. I remember getting really far, and I just think it's a good Zelda style game. So yeah, check it out if you can.
Shining Wisdom.
Yeah, Shining Wisdom. There's There's quite a few Shining games on the Saturn.
Oh yeah, I
They're like,
recognize the cover of this. It had because is it Working Designs?
yes, I think it is. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because they had like
It was the
Shining
one
the
that had, it
Holy
says win
Ark and stuff.
10,000. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say they had like Shining the Holy Ark was another one on the Saturn, as well as
Mm-hmm.
Shining Force 3 and Shining Wisdom. They're all different games though, very different games. So what were you saying?
The artwork, I remember this because it says Shining Wisdom, the big title, cool font, but then below it says win $10,000, and then below that it says action/RPG, and then below that it says Working Designs Ultra Series. Like, stop it, guys. We did. Your cover looks like a magazine ad. It's a pricey one because it's a JRPG-ish thing, but yeah, that's cool. Very Working Designs always did great stuff. So yeah.
Scotty, what for you, Saturn era? What do you?
Oh man, everybody knows Saturn Bomberman for me. And
yeah.
by everybody knows, I mean I don't shut up about this game when I get the chance. I love Bomberman games. Probably half the reason I got into puzzle games, but or half the reason I got into more puzzle games, I should say, because Columns and Tetris, heyo. Saturn Bomberman, it's exclusive. It's the first one to do 10-player multiplayer for some godly reason. If you had two multi-taps plugged in battle mode, you could do 10 players, but your character was like, 5 pixels high and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the campaign has co-op. Battle mode's cool. It has an adventure type mode that's like it's just kind of like a survival mode, if anything.
Yeah.
And I will never get tired of this game. I play it I play the campaign maybe once a year, but it was always my default. Like at one point in my life, we were kind of the party house with my roommates, and if we didn't have something to play, I'd bring out all my controllers and hook up Saturn Bomberman.
I think this is one of those games that everyone who owned a Saturn or everyone who played Saturn Bomberman knows this is a good game because it's probably the best Bomberman I played.
It's still like tournaments are pretty common at conventions and stuff for it.
Yeah.
They're starting to become more common. And
yeah,
I want to clarify, I couldn't adequately afford all those controllers. I had so many Saturn controllers because I hit up Toys R Us when they were liquidating Saturn stuff, and controllers were like $5. So I'm like, I love Bomberman. I need all of these, So,
but
and then.
But I think the reason why I think what I'm going to say is that I think you could consider this to be underappreciated because a lot of people who weren't Saturn fans or didn't play Saturn, they missed out on this great game and like they don't realize how good it is basically. So it's one of those games that doesn't get spoken about enough, I think. So I'd consider it to be underappreciated.
The fan-made game Power Bomberman, that's a browser-based game, is heavily influenced by Saturn Bomberman. If anybody wants to get an idea of it, but and
they're showing off the 10-player mode.
Lordy,
yeah. They changed. Sorry, wait.
It is. You are. Go back. Right there.
There we go.
You are tiny.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
It is chaos.
It's so good. And also just for people who haven't played the multiplayer, when you die, when you lose all your lives or whatever, you turn into like you get like this little cannon and you go around the outskirts of the arena and you can fire extra bombs into the arena to make it more challenging for the people inside the arena. And then when the time runs out, it turns into almost like a Call of Duty Warzone thing where the arena gets smaller and smaller, basically.
Stuff falls from the sky. Yeah, you can edit all it's not like you can change those and remove those too, so it's not as stressful, but it's still pretty cool.
So much fun. And the story was brilliant.
I didn't think we'd talk about Saturn Bomberman that much, so I put another one on here, but it's Dynamite Cop, which is Die Hard Arcade. Did I type Dynamite Cop? Oh my gosh. All right, whatever. Whoops, that's Dreamcast. Die Hard Arcade. It's a weird arcade brawler, sort of 3D. You can't run around in 3D. You have kind of planes you can go onto and steps you can take. A little more freedom than Bug, but a similar idea. It's great and ridiculous because it is Die Hard, as you totally remember it, but not at all. Bruce Willis and then his female police officer partner, I forget her name. Just got to save the president's daughter. It's great. It's arcadey and insane, and check it out.
Yeah, this is a brilliant game. And this is, from what I can remember, the first game that actually had QTE moments. Everyone says it's Shenmue, but this one,
maybe.
because this, you like run down the corridor and it goes like, press this button, and if you press it at the right time, you'll kick someone in the face, for example. But if you miss it, the bad guy will hit you, and then it's kind of you get into a fight. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like I had proper QTE moments in this game.
Yeah, people always argue Dragon's Lair is one of the first QTEs, but that was basically the game. It was
that
only
was the
QTEs.
game, wasn't it? Yeah, so I feel like it's not really a QTE game. Moving on to the Dreamcast, this is not only one of my favorite races on the Dreamcast, it's one of my favorite races of all time, Speed Devils. And I'm not talking about Speed Devils Online. They are very different games. The original Speed Devils, I think, is brilliant. And this is actually a review I created for Megavisions magazine back in the day. It is based off a game called Speedbusters, which was a PC release, which was pretty much a straightforward arcade racer. It's not as good as the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast game is really good. So the thing about the Dreamcast game is they added a gambling element to it. And effectively, you've got different things where you can earn more money. So if you get like the fastest lap, if you stay in the lead position for the longest, you get more money, but also you get challenges. So someone might challenge you to stop someone else from coming first, for example, or you have to beat a certain other racer. And it's wholly possible to lose a race but earn more money than everyone else by doing things. Like you can burst speed traps as well, like
boost.
No, like what do you call them? Like police radars, whatever. And also actually have like really good environmental elements to it. So the early levels don't really have much environmental stuff, but then later on it goes crazy. Like you got like lightning storms, you got the ground cracking in Hollywood, you get like meteorites falling down on you. It's really intense, and there's like aliens on this bit of the game, snow plows and things, and the way the actual environments, the way they handle on the cars really does change. Like snow is always harder to grip in. You know, dirt feels different to tarmac and stuff. Even wooden planks, you can feel the difference in them. I think they did a really amazing job of this game, and no one talks about it. It's such a fun game. You progress through different like careers and stuff, and I just think it's really good.
2 players unfortunately lacking, and that's the only way I've played it. And you told me that was the wrong way to play it.
It's one of the worst 2-player modes I've ever played. Everything I've just said sounds really good, especially for 2 players. They remove basically all of that for the 2-player mode.
Yep. It's a bare bones kart racer.
Yeah,
it's bare bones racing game.
Yeah, sorry. And then they released Speed Devils Online, which annoyingly it's got the online element of racing against other people, which is cool, but it was to remove this whole championship campaign mode effectively. That's the other thing. Sorry, it's just showing on screen here. You also get vendetta races where someone will go, "You're doing too well. I'm going to challenge you to a race," and basically have a race off against that just you two racing off against each other. And if you beat them, you get their car. If they beat you, they get your car. And if you don't have enough money to buy a new car, you basically, it's game over pretty much. You have to reload the game. The first time it happens, you've got this benefactor person who actually does go, "I'm going to give you one more chance." They give you a rusty, broken down car. But the interesting thing is when you beat someone, they're no longer racing. So you've got like this almost like this tournament mode, like a season where you're racing lots of races for a season. For the rest of the season, they're not there anymore. So that you're missing one racer in the races.
Wow!
And then the next season, they're back. They're back the next season, but they've got a different car. They've usually got one of the worst cars in the game. So I think it's just a really nice touch. And you've got their cars. You can store up to like 3 or 4 cars, I think, in your garage. Anyway, it's a freaking awesome game. I love it.
That's cool. They didn't they bring back Speed Devils Online recently too?
Yes, they did. So if you check out dreamcastlive.net, they brought back Speed Devils Online. I've unfortunately not played. I played it online once actually. Thinking about it, but yeah, I think it was about against one other person or something, and I wasn't very good.
I don't know how well that online mode or version has aged, but the single player does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, so check it out if you get an opportunity. It's really fun. So Scotty, I know you love this game.
Yeah, my Dreamcast game, one of, if not the most unique game I have ever played, Illbleed. Um, it's a survival horror game in the most literal sense. It's not spooky, it's corny, B-movie, campy, grindhouse kind of stuff, but survival horror because you have your different senses, smell, you smell, you have heart rate, maybe hearing, I forget, and then like a sixth sense kind of thing. But you're Eriko Christie, and you have to go through this weird carnival horror themed park that her dad, or not her dad, but her dad made those and subjected her to them as a child because he was a real awesome father. And yeah, you learn about all this in like the first 5 minutes, which is great. The voice acting's horrible. Actually, no, the voice acting is decent. It's just the script is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we love playing it during the marathon, showing everybody a talking baseball bat. That's all I'm going to say. Just look up.
Okay.
I mean, we should probably share the clip of like people losing their minds when we played it in the marathon, but we can add that in the description. But I don't want to harp on it too much. I want to say I'm not being hyperbolic. It's one of the most unique games I've ever played, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, the main um, person behind it passed away shortly after its release, and we'll never see a sequel. And I know that for a fact because the people involved that could make it happen have said respectfully, we're not going to do a sequel. So, in terms of a re-release, I don't know. I'm not sure what the rights would be, how the rights issues would be solved or whatever. But made by the same people that made Blue Stinger. And yeah, Illbleed is, if you are a horror fan or if you just like weird stuff, check it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember that when this came out, the reviews, well, at least in the UK, were not good for it. A lot of people were saying this is terrible.
Oh no, it has an insane learning curve.
Yeah, and the thing is, everyone compared it to Resident Evil. It's nothing. It's literally nothing like
No.
Resident Evil. And the first proper experience I had of it was on the Dreamcast Marathon. I saw you guys playing it, and it was brilliant. Just
I'm so
watched-
happy that was the first experience for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what? Because I remember people saying this is a terrible game, and I was like, why are you guys going to play this? And then you were playing it, and I was just like, that is excellent. It was such a
Like-
fun thing just to watch. So unique.
That's the thing, is it's one. I'm sorry, I finished your thought there.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say it's just such a unique experience. As you say, nothing like it. Just wacky. It's fun. And I think once you understand how the game works, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, there is disturbing stuff in it. It does have. I will say there are some trigger warnings. Look up trigger warnings for later in the game. It gets pretty dark, but and some stuff that's, I'm not sure, might be a little NSFW, but it's also not spooky. So if you are not a horror fan, if you just like campy B movie stuff, I'd say definitely check it out. And I was going to say something else and I can't remember it all now. Shoot, bang. Darn it. What was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh, one year when we streamed it, and the Dreamcast marathon that I mentioned, forever 12 or 24 hour, was at TJ's house, and his mom was visiting, and she was genuinely curious, like watching this game out of frame from the cameras and stuff. But she asked TJ after the fact, like, what was that game? Like, she was legitimately interested because it was just so weird. So everyone and their mother loves Illbleed, is what I'm telling you.
It's a great game.
So yeah.
Cool. So I'm moving on to the Xbox now. And this...
I struggled with this choice.
Yes. So this is a game that I think you have to actually... It's got a steep learning curve. Gun Valkyrie on the Xbox. My understanding is it was originally going to be developed for the Dreamcast, but Dreamcast, was failing, so they decided to release it on Xbox. The controls on it are awful when you first start playing it, but there's a learning curve. And once you actually understand how to control it, it becomes pretty fun. I only really got into it properly like 2 years ago, I think. This is actually a version, they've actually made it backwards compatible on the Xbox Series. So this is actually the Xbox Series footage, because there's literally...
That looks really good.
There's almost no good Xbox original footage available for this on YouTube. I found there's like a couple of off-camera recordings and one really low quality one. I was like, I can't put this on because I can't even see what's happening. But I think
Oh, is it one word? I was trying to look it up. It's spelled weird.
Yeah, it's one word. Gun Valkyrie.
Okay.
Gunvalkyrie.
Yeah, I got it now. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a kind of shooter platformer. Kind of got an arcadey feel.
Wow. If I saw this, like, and was basing it off the cover, I just looked it up. She looks like she's straight out of Burning Rangers,
Yeah, it kind of does get a Burning Rangers
but it does
vibe
not
from the
look
thing.
like that game.
But yeah, it's been a while since actually. Oh, it's been a couple of years since I played actually. But yeah, from memory, you have to actually defeat all the enemies in the levels and stuff. So there's a bit of a challenge to it. But once you get used to it and go through the levels, it's pretty fun.
Cool.
But yeah, it's quite a challenge as well. But I think it's underrated. Yeah, Scotty.
I don't have much to say about this one because I did struggle finding one. I will admit that this era of gaming is a little bit of a blind spot or a missed spot for me because I was not gaming as much. But I chose Panzer Dragoon Orta because it's a beautiful game. It's a great OG Xbox exclusive that you can. Is it forwards compatible? I don't remember now.
Believe it
Actually,
is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it
but
is.
they went back to after Saga with this one they went back to the on rail shooter. But it is challenging. It is one that you need to memorize the patterns and
Yeah,
you're going to replay it. I believe it's relatively short. I've never completed it, but also haven't really spent as much time with it as I would have liked. But it's solid. It, like I said, beautiful game and kind of just another like, man, if Dreamcast kept going, this would have been on it.
yeah, it's a really cool game. I've have completed it once when it first came out, but that was a
Oh.
long time ago. Yeah, yeah, good game.
Nice.
Yeah, I forgot how beautiful it is. Actually, it was really good looking.
Yeah.
So my next, I'm going into. Actually, no, let's go for you on PS3. You've got a PS3
Sure.
game here.
So a lot of people know Bayonetta. More recognizably, people know Devil May Cry. Take that game, put it into a multiplayer setting, and you've got Anarchy Reigns, and it lives up to its name. Starring Max from Mad World of the Wii exclusive title. Just as violent, just as well. Not. I mean, it's violent, but they don't like do over the top blood and crap because that was kind of more striking on the Wii in black and white. This is full color. But you have, I think there's 16 different fighters. If you pre-ordered it, you could play as Bayonetta. You could get her unlockable or a code for her or whatever. The story is forgettable, but there are two campaigns, and the best way I can describe it is Twisted Metal without cars.
Okay,
Like it's car combat, but you're running around kicking the crap out of people. Like if they took like if Fortnite didn't have guns for the more modernized idea of it. It's such a good game. The campaign does get a little long in the tooth, but it unfortunately, like, Japan had a great marketing for it and it did decent, and then it came out months later in North America. I'm not sure how the PAL regions received it. I just remember it released at like $30 or something to imply budget game, which it was not.
Yeah.
And it bummed me out. I bought it on 360 day one, back when I was still playing online regularly, and then later on got it on PS3. This was when I was working at GameStop, and I can say this now, it doesn't matter. Certain things, if you pre-ordered something, it would you'd have to scan something to throw a code onto the receipt that people would type in, for XBLA, type in on there or on the PSN. Anyone who bought this game, I just threw the Bayonetta code on the receipt, and I would tell them, "Hey, you get Bayonetta," and hey, screw it. When the Sega addicts, when we streamed the crap out of this game, I was still working at GameStop, got codes for everybody for Bayonetta. So, what was that?
I said, awesome. That's really cool.
I mean, it wasn't hurting anybody. If you could argue like, oh, I was giving everybody $5 essentially because you have to pre-order it to get her. But even the like weird football type, soccer type sports arena thing was a good time. I don't know if the servers are still up. They were like, man, when did we play this game last? 4 or 5 years ago. The Megavisions crew would try to do it like once a month. And fun fact with Megavisions, and then we can keep going. I bought like 8 copies of this game in an eBay auction because the plan was to continue hosting the Thursday night throwdowns and bring people in to play this game, and whoever like would win or demolish us, I would just give them a copy of the game. Or if someone like would do something, I would give them a copy of the game so they could join us online and stuff. Because it was really cheap. You could get it for like $5 at one point.
Ooh.
So I still have the box in this closet of a couple of copies of Anarchy Reigns.
I own it, but I've never played it.
I see the downfall is if the networks are done, all you have is a single player mode. There's no offline. You can't even do a LAN hookup for multiplayer, unfortunately. But I mean, I'd be down to try and see if it is online at all still, Graham.
Yeah, maybe.
You said I assume 360. You had it on?
I've got an Xbox 360. Yeah.
Or you should try it in your new console to see if, like, by newer I mean not a 360, just to see if the online works.
Okay.
Don't bust out the 360 just for Anarchy Reigns. But yeah, did you? So you said you never actually played it though?
Yeah, no, I actually never got to play it. I can't remember why. But yeah,
it's a forgotten, underrated, underappreciated because it just had crappy marketing or lack thereof in the US, and like literally enough time had passed that if you got online, it was with the people that got in Japan months or maybe like a insane amount of time, like a year earlier. So what's the point? So
I've actually got like a bit of a curveball here. I've got a PSP game I was going to look at. Which is Crush on the PSP. I'll go through this one very quickly. If you've never played Crush, it's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle platform game. And the unique thing about it is you crush the world, and basically it changes the perspective of the world. So you can go 2D. So, for example, it's now just going to 2D, and then the level changes. So the whole idea is you've got to try and get to the goal and pick up orbs and stuff. But depending on how you crush the world, because you can change the angle like full 360 degrees, basically. The platforms change completely. They did release a 3DS version a few years later, which was not as good. It's kind of the same game. From memory, it's basically the same game, the same levels, but they changed the artwork and music and styling and stuff. And it wasn't as good because the original PSP version's kind of got this dark aesthetic to it, and it's really kind of got this grungy feel, and it works so well with the game. This was one of the first PSP games I owned, and it's one of my favorites still. No one really spoke about it. It's such a good game.
I feel like Fez did stuff like this. Did you ever play that? FEZ
yes.
Fez?
Yeah, I remember that. I think this came out.
It wasn't the exact
Fez.
same thing, but ideas.
Yeah. Anyway.
So it's a cool idea. Yeah. Hard. It's another one of those things like hard to explain.
Yes, hard to explain. So much fun to play. One game I'm going to quickly bring up of the Xbox 360 is Full Auto, which I think I've mentioned on the show once before. It's a car combat game, and I just think it's brilliant. They've got like destructible environments. You've got lots of weapons, lots of cars. You can rewind time, which you kind of just showed then. I had a blast playing this. It's kind of got a sort of campaign mode where you've got different missions and stuff. You also had multiplayer back in the day. And I think one of the things I loved about it so much was the destructible environments. Like I can distinctly remember one of the levels. There's like a train track that goes across the road, and you can actually aim your missiles or whatever at the bridge this train is going across, and the bridge and the train will fall down on enemies behind you. If you time it just right, you can slip under and they will crush them basically. Such a fun game, and I think there's also another time I laid some mines where a gas station was, like a petrol station, and some enemy go through it, blew up the mine, but then blew up the entire petrol station, gas station, which was it's just awesome. Like it's so much fun.
Yep.
So yeah,
Michael Bay.
Yep. If Michael Bay made a racer.
Yeah, it's racing with car combat basically, but in the best way possible. Like, if Burnout had weapons, the Burnout series, what was it? Split Second, I think, went on to do a lot of what this game did.
Yeah.
With the environments and stuff. So it was it's so weird that Sega just up and made a car combat game, but so awesome because that was one of my favorite genres when it was relevant.
It's very good. And the first one was exclusive to Xbox 360. Then they made Full Auto 2 for the PS3 and PSP. PSP version was not good. I actually own that one.
Battle Lines or something on the PSP, I think.
It was not a very good game. It was okay, but it wasn't great.
They were bringing back like this era brought back the console exclusive versions of games, I feel.
Yeah. And
so
moving on, you have got is this a 3DS game or yes, 3DS, yeah.
I just want to mention it by title. We won't get into it. Another one I had on the 360 PS3 era was Renegade Ops. So look it up, and if you know, you know. But play it if you still own it, people. Top down, like Micro Machines, almost kind of view, driving around and blowing stuff up. Basically full auto, but up above, bird's eye view.
Yeah.
So
was that Sega?
Nah. Yeah, it was.
No, I never.
And you had co-op mode in it too. If it still works, I would I would happily hop online and play that with people. I just want to throw it out there because it was one that I remembered loving, and then it just disappeared. Like people never talked about it. But Rhythm Thief is another one people didn't talk about. Sorry. I reviewed this game forever ago, and I love it. I like rhythm games, and it's on the 3DS. It works really well on there for tapping and poking and hitting the buttons and things like that. You're a cat burglar basically in Paris. And him and his cool outfit that somehow people don't recognize him from his real life counterpart because all he does is pull a hat down over half his face. Anyway, I don't know. It doesn't matter. The plot doesn't matter. But yeah, it's just cool rhythm games. Like when you're trying to escape from the scene of a crime and you're like posing behind statues in a museum, you have to like hit it before you're spotted by a flashlight and stuff. And others, and even his little sidekick dog has some mini games too, has some rhythm games in it. So it's really, really good. It's really, really fun, and just kind of a charming little thing that I think it got a mobile release as well, like on iOS, maybe Android or something. But yeah, Rhythm Thief, it's fun.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, never played it. It looks pretty good. Actually, I do have another Xbox 360 game. I've got two more Xbox 360 games. I'll quickly mention them. Binary Domain on the Xbox 360 and PS3.
Yeah.
This is such an underrated game. People thought it was going to be like another Gears of War because that's what it kind of looked like. It's really not. It's got lots more to it than Gears of War. It's got more RPG elements, I guess, to it. You could say the story is brilliant. The gameplay is really, really good. The opening level is when you first start, you're kind of like, oh, this does feel like Gears of War. But then after like 20 minutes, it suddenly really kicks off. It gets really good. The character development is really good. I really love it. Definitely check it out if you can. I've also got another one, which is Vanquish for Xbox 360 and PS3. Yeah. This was
Platinum and Sega days were my favorite times. Yeah. For both companies.
Everyone talks about Bayonetta and stuff. I think this was a great game. If you never played it, how do you explain it? Again, it looked like a Gears of War kind of over-the-shoulder shooter. It really wasn't because you slide around in this suit, basically. This suit lets you slide around on the floor.
On his knees. Yeah. It's so dumb looking, but great.
And
then you break dance to get back in position.
And you can slow down time and stuff as you're like doing it to make it easier to aim. But the thing I loved about it, the story is pretty weird and wacky, but you have these really cool set pieces. So like you get to parts of the levels where things are happening, like the scenery is breaking, or there's a massive robot in the distance firing massive lasers at you, or there's like parts of the scenery falling down on you and things like that. And it's just a great fun game. And then some of the enemies are just huge as well. Like one of the early enemies is really, really big. And then it turns out later in the game, they just throw that enemy at you just constantly, basically. And
yeah,
it's like it's nothing. It's like, oh my God. It's such a fun shooter.
You can see a lot of the DNA that became Metal Gear Revengeance in this game.
I never played that.
You should. Okay, if you like Vanquish, you should probably play Metal Gear Revengeance.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, but I don't know why. What was his name? Like Sam Gideon or something? The lead guy.
It's been a while since I played it.
Fake fan, fake gamer. I don't know why he wasn't in Anarchy Reigns also, because it would be hilarious to see him scooting around on his knees. in an arena fighting game. And I remember a joke that Josh Newey of Sega Addicts made when we were always talking about Sonic and All-Star Racing Transform, that Sam Gideon should have been an unlockable character, and instead of having a cart, he just races around on his knees.
Would have been amazing, actually. That would have been so cool.
so dumb and great. Yeah.
Oh, that would be so
It's
cool.
good. It's just it's an amazing sci-fi action game that definitely does not take itself serious at all, but somehow still looks pretty badass.
Yeah, it's really good.
Not somehow, it just does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was re-released on PC, like an HD 4K version, a few years ago.
Yep.
So you can still check it out.
Bundle with Bayonetta, or I think you could buy them separate also, but there was a bundle with Bayonetta or something. The first one.
Mm. Yeah.
All right, let's quick fire the rest of this because we don't have a whole lot really.
Okay, right, cool. For your next one.
Puyo Puyo Tetris 1 and 2, maybe just the first one. I don't know. Pretty cool games. It's quite simply that you combined the Puyo Puyo games and the Tetris games, or combine those into one puzzle game, and somehow it works. There's not much more to say, but it was 4-player. There were some cool modes in there, and it was weird. You had to retrain your brain to use both of those at once if you were playing the I forget what the different modes are called, but using the Poyos and the Tetris blocks on the same screen. I still play Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 pretty regularly, but only the Tetris mode online, because for some reason people are still playing it online on Switch. They did just do with the Switch 2 Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S or 2 I think that's all it's called. But they added a co-op mode where you share the screen with a person playing the game. Yeah, insane. Which is also there is a mode like that in the second one, but Puyo Puyo Tetris just blew my mind, and I did not like the campaign because the characters talk so much trash that it's like not only did you lose, but this dumb elementary school child is like gloating about it, and you just want to punt them all into orbit. But it's good. It's still like, if you want a story with your puzzle game, here you go. But it's solid. I really like Tetris is one of my all-time favorite games, but Puyo Puyo I'm not great at. I still haven't grasped how to be good at that series. But this was still really cool to see.
Awesome.
Yeah. Did you ever play any of those, Graham? Either
I did
of them?
not. I never really been a big Tetris Puyo. I mean, I like Tetris. Never been a big Puyo.
I have a hard time recommending this even to fans of both of those because it's such a niche thing to combine those.
Yeah.
So yeah. Like I said, people are still actively playing just the Tetris mode online in 2 on Switch, which is weird to me, but awesome. Hit it.
My next one is actually also another, I guess, Xbox 360 era game, but it's just been re-released actually.
That's right.
So this wasn't originally published by Sega, but technically now it is because Sega bought the rights to the game. It's Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. They just re-released the Master Crafted edition, and this game, I'm going to say again, this is another game that people thought it looked a lot like a Gears of War over the shoulder shooter. But I mean, I love Gears of War, but I think this game is brilliant. The story's really good, the levels are really good, the gameplay, everything about it, I just loved. And when you finish the game, I was like, oh man, I hope there's a sequel. And then it was years later a sequel came out, basically. So if you get a chance, play it. It's really good. Yeah. Did you ever get
There's so many game series. No, I probably never will. Unfortunately, it's just not my cup of tea. But like this, like you said, Binary Domain, and I'm gonna throw it in there. The Resistance series, I feel like never shown as strongly as they could because they just didn't have the Microsoft marketing that Gears of War did.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well.
But people do like this one though. They've come around on it, and they really dig it.
But
Arcade, I forgot.
Let's finish this off.
I thought, all right, underappreciated, but it's in the FGC, the fighting game community. If you know, Sonic the Fighters or Sonic Championship. It's Sega was messing around with the Fighting Vipers engine and decided to put Sonic characters in it. I think that might honestly be part of the formation of it. I'm not sure, but ask TJ Kitsune. He'll tell you. He'll tell you a lot because he has the arcade cabinet in his house. I played it. But it's just so wacky and
Wait,
fun.
he's got the sorry, he's actually got the arcade cabinet.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
that's so cool.
Yeah. He does. He's cleaned it up a good bit and added stuff to it too. But yeah, it's a weird idea that, again, that's the 90s. I remember seeing it in Tips and Tricks magazine, like under their Japan report, and I think there were like 50 released in the States or something, insanely small run. But they did re-release it on PS3 and 360. I have no idea if the servers are still up. They might be still up, but I know people actively play this online. It has a strong cult following. But it's got Sonic and the gang, and then new characters Bean and Bark, who were added in Fighters Mega Mix on the Saturn. That's, I think, also how I learned of it, or I knew who they were because whatever. But yeah, Sonic the Fighters Sonic Championship. Check it out. Watch a video of it just to see how wonky it is and stuff in some areas.
Awesome. Well, there we go, Scotty. I guess that's kind of the rundown. I know we missed off some consoles and stuff, but yeah. I think over the years, these are just some games that we feel are underappreciated. People might have missed out on them, so check them out if you get an opportunity, because some of these games are just really good fun. A big blast to play. And,
and some of them we mentioned are digital, maybe delisted, so try to find them if you can, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So, Scotty, I guess we're going to round off the show now. So, let us know of any other underappreciated games that you might have out there.
Definitely.
Any last thoughts, Scotty? Any shout-outs or plugs you want to do?
I put up a video recently, another Dead Mall tour, Dead Mall vlog of Ashtabula Town Center, Square Center. I can't remember the actual name. Jiminy Christmas. Rachel and my wife and I walked around a Dead Mall and we filmed it, and because we don't know how much longer it'll be up.
Awesome. Cool. I don't have anything this week, so I'm not going to plug anything or do anything. But yeah, I will just basically say thanks everyone for watching, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. And just let us know in the comments any of the feedback you got. Cheers, and catch you later.
No one was asking for this. I'm very confident that I willed this into existence.